We will stand on principle, or we will not stand at all.
Hello, everyone. This is Thierry Ruiz here. I'm your host for Principal Discord and another episode, this time with Yazen Alkhudairy. Yazen, thank you very much for being here. Just for the listeners and the viewers, could you give us a little bit of a background of where you come from?
Yes, thank you, Thierry, for the pleasant introduction. Well, I am Yazen Alkhudairy. My background, basically, I'm from Saudi Arabia. My background, basically, in the banking sector for the last more than 20 years, mainly in the treasury, financial institutions coverage, M&A, and investment banking. I've been covering the region and outside the region with many multinational banks. And my last former job was heading the coverage for all the sovereigns, FIs for Saudi Arabia and family offices, insurance company.
Great. So, hey, let's just jump into it. You were talking about treasury. We see now that the long bond is yielding negative rates in Europe and in parts of the world. How do you handle treasury when you have negative interest rate? And what do you think the place of gold is within the treasury departments of corporations?
Yes, thank you. Okay. So for the problem when it comes to treasury, Terry, you know that we are considered in our region as an emerging market countries, okay? We know that Saudi Arabia maybe is the only country in the region part of the G20, okay? And the market being developed there and also in our region. But back to your question when it's come to the debt capital market and the bonds and the negative interest rate in different countries, like when we go to Europe or where you are currently in Switzerland, we don't have this kind of dilemma in our region because we are a region which is pegged basically to the dollar. So our rates, interest rates, and the yields all driven, correlated to the dollar rates. And the reason that because you know that 95% of the region income based on oil income and the sale of oil. This is the reason why the dollar is the main currency for us. But to the second part of the question, gold considered as an important element in our life in the region. It's a more a cultural, let's say a cultural inherited by hundred or thousand of years, and for our people in the region, gold considered as one of the first saving elements that they go to in any crisis.
Yeah. And I would say that it's almost of biblical proportions, right? I mean, usually when I talk about gold, I go even back to the Mayans in where I come from in Mexico, but also in Egypt, and we now see that gold is by definition one product that is by definition Sharia compliant. So I would say. It is interesting to see the history of money and the history of savings, since gold is basically the historical part of like you said, a cultural way of saving, but also now that we see the limitations of the current financial system, it seems to me that we could go back to that. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I think with the current global economy and with the pandemic, what happened in the last 1 year, I think the pandemic has led to many changes to our lives. Technology has been at the forefront. Okay, so with the rise in the online payment, as you are aware, and you're one of the leaders in this sector, and the different modes of payment, such as the crypto blockchain concept, I see a huge potential in Agawa going forward. The reason that because people always in our region and globally believe that gold is a safe haven, either in a volatile downturn market or in an upside market. And because of the global current situation where we see governments are just printing money left and right, and the value of money just getting depreciated by time. So people are trying to find a safe haven for their investment and to hedge their future wealth. And gold considered one of the most well-known elements to the normal people and to the most sophisticated people. So in our culture, you see a lot of people are every month they take some of their savings and they buy small ounces of gold and they save it for their kids and their grandkids and to keep it for tens of years, because they have in the back of their mind and from what they learned by history that this is a fortune that if anything happened, the value will go higher rather than lower.
I think you nailed it on the head with the two things. One is the safe haven you mentioned, and then the other one is the liquidity, right? Because a lot of people talk about real estate and other sorts of uh, assets perceived as safe havens, but now that you have currency risk when it comes to that, given the printing of money, and you want to not be pushed in the yield curve, but when your objective is to save generational wealth. You want to be on a safe haven that you can also have a certain liquidity to it, and I think gold is one of the only ones to do that. In certain areas, it's even considered as a currency pair, and it was money when you look back into the Adam Smith Wealth of Nation, where wealth was calculated in gold and in ounces of gold. Even in my country, it's the same. We have ounces of silver, we have ounces of gold, and for big occasions, be it weddings or anniversaries or even Christmas, we do give those gifts. And I think you nailed it on the head when you talk about time, because where I see the intricacy of time with immutable um, immutable materials, right? So gold, one of the reasons why gold is money is because it is a chemical element that is extremely stable and lasts through time, almost like by magic, right? By God-given rights, right? And then the other idea that we are exploring now with the technology is to have immutable data and to have this. I think we now have the opportunity with AGAU, precisely with AGAU, which is AG for silver and AU for gold, to use the technology but still be grounded on something that is actually of intrinsic value. Um, what do you think the reception of such a product would be in the region?
Well, I think the perception from day one or previously, before even the concept of AGAU, because the nature of our culture, we always think that gold is the, back to my word, safe haven for us and for the upcoming generation. The reason that as an example, for example, like to give you part of our culture, when in some countries when they get married, the husband, okay, when he give the wife, they write in the contract, in the marriage contract or in the wedding contract, that okay, I will give you 1 kg of gold or 2 kg of gold, okay, as a part of the tradition. So they don't use the money concept; they use the gold concept, okay.
Mm, mm.
So back to your question, I think the perception would be super positive among our expectation because it's already in the DNA of the people and the nation in our region, and even not only the people in our region, many of the other countries, nationalities who works in the region, especially the Asian, the Indians, the Pakistan, they love the concept of gold, and also they have the same mindset up that gold, if anything, the value will go higher by time, and it's the best hedging for their wealth.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like one of the main aspect that we try to push forward is basically we're now in 2221, which is funnily enough 50 years after August 71 with Nixon. So we're kind of celebrating the 50-year departure of the latest gold standard with Bretton Woods, with a new version of it. Basically making gold money again in a way. So thank you for being here. Is there now switching gears a little bit? We like to speak about principles in this podcast, and we like to explore the principles of people, the principles in life, or the principles in success. Would you like to share some of the principles you use in life in order for you to have success?
Well, when it comes to the principles, well, it's a bit for me. It's a bit a tricky question, because uh, maybe because of my, let's say, my career in different sectors. Okay, it's in banking, but different sectors in the banking, in the treasury, corporate finance, M&A, advisory, relationship management with different type of clients, different investment strategy for each client. When we talk banks, family offices, insurance companies, central banks, sovereign wealth fund, and ministries, okay, in different countries, and different people, different strategy. So by time, I think people always would like to take one step further for any investments. Even when I saw that from many bank CEOs that I met, from many bank chairmen, ministers, sovereign wealth fund, managing director or governors, okay, the risk, it's part of our culture, okay, or part of our human being, okay, to take some risk, okay. But the beauty about it that in the last 20 years, I saw a lot of people who are very aggressive when they take the risk, okay, and other people they're a bit conservative. So going back to the question that what I saw, what I noticed that in every single communication or pitch, the gold concept will always pop up in the discussion. And because you feel that no one from all the decision makers, okay, at different levels, they can't forget that gold will be the future tool or the future commodity, and it will be the replacement of the current uh, payment solution. And we're talking about the currency because they know that the currency value, it's getting depreciated by time, and it's losing the value. And even and I know that some countries, the printing cost for some of their currency is way above the value of the currency note itself.
Yeah, it's true, and I think
And sorry to add also, they think, especially in our region, where some of the countries are very wealthy with a lot of resources, oil, gold, metals, different kind of, they think that their currency or their economy, because is the currency is pegged to the dollar, because most of the income is coming from the oil. I think they feel that the value of their currency should be much more stronger if it is backed by one of the commodities where it's already available in this country, which gold one of them, silver is one of them, and other metals that it's available in different countries around the world.
I think you point out very accurately that at the end of the day, gold remains still a reserve asset, even for central banks, and that's undeniable. The other thing I'm trying to pick up from what you just said is, you've been dealing with a lot of institutions, and you name quite a few, but at the end of the day, it's people, right? And people are the ones who make decisions, and I think culturally and history matters a lot when it comes to bringing on a consensus onto what is it that at the end of the day, whatever, if you're the governor of a central bank or if you are a person leading the top position at an investment or retail bank, people are going to make decisions and people are going to take responsibility. So they are the ones who will ultimately have to choose and consult with each other what they think the best consensus for a potential. I see a potential monetary reset, or at least a rebasement of the world order. And so I feel that there is place there for not only the US and China and the macro geopolitical game, but also for something more neutral and more historically valid, like gold. So Yazen, thank you very much for being with us. I'm looking forward for the next time we meet, hopefully in person. And with that, I'm closing this episode. But for everybody and our viewers, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to have more of those with high profiles and as well people sharing their experience and how they deal in their own merits. Thank you very much, Yazen, and I'm looking forward to see you soon.
Thank you, Thierry, for the pleasant interview, and I'm looking forward to see you hopefully in Switzerland or in the region, and to meet the people, to meet the decision makers, and to make sure that Agawa will be one of the top leader payment solution backed by a very well-known commodity like gold and silver, which will make a big sounding hopefully.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
We will stand on principle, or we will not stand at all.